it's Vanessa from Crafty Gemini Creates, and we're working on super cute and easy holiday theme project for you. Today I'm going to teach you how to make they're little cute kind of holiday treat boxes. I think little projects like this are great for organizers, or they just are really cute little projects that you can stuff with all kinds of things. If you want to make some gifts maybe for your kids' teachers, you can stuff them with cookies, chocolates, wrap it up in a cellophane thing. You can really make these cute, and I think they'll be able to use it, dual purpose. So after they're done with their gift, then they can use them at home, right? Jewelry, your keys, all kinds of little things. Even to organize some kids' toys, I think that would be fun. So we're going to make these with some really cute holiday-inspired fabric. We are working with this 10 by 10 stack. The collection is called Tinsel, and it's cotton and steel, an RJR. How cute is that? Seriously, there's so many cute prints on here. And to make one box, all you need is one square of the 10 by 10s and then one sheet of felt. Now the felt comes in a ton of different colors, and we're using here some red, some white, some black, and greens. Now remember that there's always a link in the description box below that you can click on, and we'll have the full list there for you of all the materials and supplies that I'm using in this video tutorial, okay? All right, so let's get started with our fabrics. We have one 10 by 10 square and then one sheet of felt. Now the dimensions are a little bit different on each. This is 10 by 10, so it sticks out a little bit more here on the end, and then the felt sheet measures 9 inches by 12 inches. So what you're going to do, real simple, just grab your rotary cutter, and this doesn't have to be super perfect, just eyeball it. The idea is to trim these down so that they are both the same size, and they're not going to be a perfect square. I'll flip it just because it's easier for me to see the fabric here. They're not going to be a perfect square. It ends up measuring about 9 by 10, so that's fine. So notice I layered the fabric on the felt with the pretty sides touching, and that's just going to be easy because I can take it now to the next step and when I have to sew at the machine. But before we head over to sew, let's grab a small ruler here and some type of fabric marking device, and we are going to mark out 2-inch by 2-inch squares on all 4 corners of this setup. So I'm just going to show you quickly how I do that. Just mark it out. And what I like is that right here, like I'm not even pinning or anything because the friction of the felt with the fabric, it really holds the layers together nicely. So after you do that, don't do this part with a rotary cutter because it's going to be real simple for you to like cut and keep cutting, and you don't want to cut into the fabric. You want to cut out that square nice and crisp. So I'm just going to come in with a pair of shears and stop right at the tip, and then I'll cut the other end off. So you're going to repeat that to all 4 of your corners, and you're going to end up with something that looks like this. After you clip out the corners, we're going to head over to the sewing machine, and you're going to stitch up the 4 sides. And I already have this sample that's been done here. I used a 1/4 inch seam allowance. One thing you do want to note is make sure that you backstitch really good at the beginning and at the ends, okay? But you're only sewing the straight little lines of whatever you have left on the 4 corners. Now we're going to reach in here, and we're just going to flip the whole thing right side out. It's so easy, seriously. There's no interfacing, you don't need any batting. The felt has just enough body to give the box enough, stiffness and firmness with just one little square of fabric and a sheet of felt. All right, so after we lay this out like this, you can even take this over to your ironing board and give it a quick press from the cotton side. Definitely don't hit it from the felt side because this felt is not actually like traditional wool felt. This is made from post-consumer recycled bottles, so it's plastic. If you hit it with a hot iron, it's going to melt. So just hit it from the cotton side to get these to lay nice and flat. And now we're going to head over to the sewing machine, and the next step is to top stitch on the 4 sides. So the same seams that you sewed, you're going to top stitch them. And if you run your fingers right there where the bulk of the seam allowance is going in, you can tell where the seam allowance and the bulk of it ends. So try to clear that, because if you don't really have a heavy duty machine, you may see that your machine struggles to get through the bulkness, but just start a little bit over. I'd say a little bit more than 1/4 inch. Backstitch at the beginning and at the ends of all 4 sides. So I already have a sample here done for you of that step. I just have one more side left to do, but you can see how nice and neat that looks with the finished edges. So I'm gonna head over to my machine and stitch just the last one here. My thread's not gonna match, but that's not a big deal. All right, so I have white on this machine, so I'm back stitching at the beginning and at the end. Super easy. All right, so now you're probably wondering, how in the world are we going to finish these corners? So we are going to do a technique that is used in making French seams, and that is we're going to hide our seam allowance inside another seam. So let me show you how to do it. Lay your piece here with the pretty side of the fabric side facing up, because the felt, remember, the felt is going to be our lining piece on the inside. So lay it with the fabric facing up. You're going to come over to the corner, and you're going to match up this edge with this edge just by placing them like this. So the same way you would piece any other patchwork pieces together. And you're going to use your 1/4 inch seam allowance and you're going to stitch this down. Again, back stitching at the beginning and at the ends. And you're going to repeat that to all 4 corners. So just push the fabric in, lay it nice and flat, and stitch that down. After you're done with that, you're going to end up with something that looks like this on the stitch side. I trim it back down to maybe 1/8 of an inch or so, okay? Just like you see this finished. And then when you're done with all 4 of them, you're going to flip the whole thing so that the felt is on the inside. See that? And now here I have 2 corners that are already completed at the next step, and I'm going to do these 2 for you so you can see how it works. You end up with the raw edges of your seams on the inside of your box. You're going to finish tucking that in because we're trying to hide this raw edge. You're going to push that in and grab the 2 edges like this. Now when we hold it like this with the pretty side facing out, you can feel again the bulk of that seam allowance in there. And the idea is that you're going to stitch far enough over so that all that is hidden inside that seam and we have a clean seam on the outside and the inside. So I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and show you how that looks. So this seam allowance here can vary. If you have a lot of bulk left in there, let me backstitch. And backstitch at the end as well. And I have one more left to do on this side. Okay. So now this one is complete, and let me show you what it looks like. It gives you like this nice stiffness on the 4 corners. You get these kind of like little posts that stick out, but I think it adds a little decorative finish. And when you look inside, you have no raw seams. So that's called a French seam. It's basically you're just sewing 2 seams on the same stitch line, you know, one first, you tuck it in, and then you stitch on the outside. And there you can see that your little holiday treat box is complete. So I hope you enjoyed this super quick and easy tutorial. Remember, there's a link in the description box below, including all the supplies and materials I used in this tutorial to make the project. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up below, share it across the different social media sites, and of course, like always, don't forget to click the subscribe button so you won't miss out on any of my future tutorials. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.